up, you guys? It's T, and welcome back to another segment of Books with T. So, today we are going to be talking about one of the, I would say, biggest um, book series of like my time, I would say. Well, in this day and age, I know that it popped off last year and the year before, and they're coming out with some new books for this one, which is the Avatar series. We're going to start with, of course, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah j.Maas. So, this series holds true to a lot of things for me. I love world building, I love good character development, and I love some drama and some action. Now, I'm probably going to have a lengthy one this time when it comes to this episode because this book has so much things to cover, so many details. So if you want to stay through it and you want to, you know, hear what I gotta say, go ahead. It might be some spoilers in here. So if you are just trying to see what the book is about before you read it, I'm going to try my best not to spoil it for you because I do want you to read the book for yourself to give your own opinion. But if you've already read it, please sit back and enjoy it because I have pages upon pages to let you know about this book, and y'all can go for page for me, honestly. So let's get into it. So it starts with our main character. Her name is Feyre. Now, if I get these names wrong or if I say them like crazy, please don't come at me. I'm just a human being, okay? But Feyre is in the woods, okay? Your girl is basically coming from a family that does not have much. At one point in time, they did, but due to understanding that there is a fae side and then there's a human side, and how things have happened that affected the human side due to the things that are going on in the fae side, you understand that things aren't as great over where Feyre is. So it's kind of like you're fending for yourself, and she's trying to fend for her family. Now, at one point, I believe that her family was well off, but it was kind of before she was born, and her mother has passed away. Her dad has gotten hurt. They're in some type of debt. Um, and her sisters are still wanting to be prim princesses. And it's kind of hard for her because she's just like, I'm out here and I gotta fend for my family because if I don't, like, who else is going to do that? We have to live, we have to survive. So, Homegirl is tough for her age. I think she is of the ripe age of 19 at this point. And that for her, she's not really an adult yet, but she is like kind of like trying to find herself still. So her at this age having to do so much, and it's not the first time that she's done it. We just know at this part of the story in the beginning that's what she's doing. Um she's just like, I'm just trying to make it through the winter. Now, as you read, it tells you in big detail that like she's going after an animal, and she ends up seeing a wolf. Now this wolf wants to go after the same animal, right? So she's like, am I going to get the wolf or am I going to get the other animal that's much smaller, right? And she's like, well, there's some things about this wolf that just ain't right. And I was like, girl, if I see a giant wolf or a giant dog, I'm going to know something's not right, because you know that a wolf is not that big. But she's not thinking anything of it because her belly is growling. She is thinking about, oh, that fur, I can sell it. So do you know what she does? She hunts it. She kills it. And she's like, hey, I'm going to take this back to the house, clean it up, and then I'm gonna sell it. And that's what she does. When she comes back to the house with it, her family's looking at her like, okay, this is what you got. And she was like, well, has anybody chopped wood? We gotta make sure that we salt this meat and stuff that we're cutting. Like, she's trying to like actually preserve food and trying to get things ready for, again, the winter. Her sisters aren't having it. They're like, I ain't gonna do that. Don't want to chop no wood. Don't want to do nothing. But they're like, oh, you're going to go to the market tomorrow so you can sell. So can you buy this and buy this and buy this for me? Now, at this point of the story, it had me a little heated because I was like, these are some ungrateful people. And then her dad just let them talk to her that way. And I understand that Feyre is the youngest out of all three of them. But I'm just like, she's doing all the work. And I said, y'all are just here. And I was kind of upset with that. And yes, it preferenced a lot that her dad is just like, not over it, but kind of just tired and is trying to, you know, just deal with him not being the one who is bringing home money and being able to provide for his family, which is understandable. So he's like kind of solemn about things and he always thanks her and stuff. But at some point, thanking is not enough. You gotta do something, boo. And I was just like, Feyre, girl. So she goes to the market, she sells the stuff, she gets the money, they come back home, and of course, it doesn't end there. The door, the cottage in shambles. Why? Well, we've got a beast of sorts, a fae beast that came in all the way from the fae side, a Promethean, from the spring court at that, to come and get due diligence for his friend. Now, I'ma tell you, I was like, because what in the world? You're telling me that this beast is coming in and he knows exactly where to go. And he's like, oh, well, this is where I track my friend to. My friend is like, who killed my friend? You know? Of course, Feyre's family being Feyre's family is like, she did it. Low key. Like, they're like, she did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're about to sell her out. So basically, we find out that the High Fae of the Spring Court is here, Talman, to collect his debt from Feyre because she killed his men or his Fae. So she is entitled to be Feyre, the Fae Slayer, at this point because she killed one of his people, right? So he said an eye for an eye. I'm taking you. With that being said, she was upset about it, but she went because she didn't want anybody to hurt her family. So she, again, being so noble, being so Feyre-esque as she is, she goes with him. Does she like it? No. She's very wary. She's scared, but she just wants to make sure that her family's good and she could get him away from them as fast as possible. So she ends up going to the Spring Court. Now while she's at the Spring Court, she meets Lucien. Lucien is Talon's friend, and he is also a little deviant at points. He just does things to test her and her abilities. So one of those things was that he told her to go out because she wanted to figure out some things and she had some questions. He tells her to go out and catch this creature And when she catches the creature, then she'll get all her answers. Now, with her doing that, she ends up getting into more of a mess. She actually ends up catching the creature because, hint, hint, homegirl's been hunting her whole life. Thank you. So she's basically knows what to do. She caught it. She caught it in the trap. But while she was catching that, she ended up in a situation with some more fae people that were not as nice. And yeah, they had to Talaman came in and had to protect her. Now he was upset about this because he's like, why are you out here unprotected and stuff like that? And then she didn't throw Lucian under the bus for it, but she knew like he really did not like her at this point. And she was like, y'all say that Faye cannot lie, but you sat there and you tricked me into doing this, and I am so upset with you, like, for real. And of course I would be too if somebody did that to me. So as the days go on, she is, exploring the manor that she's in now of the Spring Court. And she comes across like this place where it has art and books and things like that in this room. And she starts writing down these words that she just does not understand. Because we find out that she has a little education when it comes to like reading and stuff because of the timing of her mother's death. That's when they became poor, and she couldn't go to school because she was out there hunting for folks. So she ends up getting found out by a Talaman that she cannot read. And she's very embarrassed by it. And I put this as one of those things to keep in the back of your mind as I'm like going through the story, because it does get brought up in a very specific way when at the end of the story as well. So that happened. He's like trying to be genuine with her. He understands like where she's coming from. He ends up buying her paint, so like she has things to do throughout the day, like paint, just doing things that she likes to do, right? Excuse me. She rides the horses with Lucian at some points, and she's just like, enjoying her time at the Spring Court. Now, there is this question in Farrah's mind, like, I thought that I was here as a captive, but now I'm here I feel like I'm a guest, basically. She finds out that it's not too bad where she's at, but there is something off, right? Of course, like everything is something off. So one night Tommy comes in and he has a friend with him. His friend is injured, like way injured. Like he is hurt. Okay? Now because he is hurt, Farrah comes down and she's like, what is happening? Because she hears all those loud noises and stuff. She's like, what is happening? This man is like hurt beyond compare. She's trying to help, but she can't help him. And she is showing him compassion because he's basically on his deathbed. Now, she did not know that Talman was out there, like, fighting and stuff, because she heard him talking about patrolling and things like that, and how sometimes it can be dangerous out there on her lands because not everything is safe, right? But she's just like, okay. But it actually came into, the manor. So now she's seeing it firsthand what's happening. Now, after this, a couple of days go by, and I think that was the pivotal point of like how Talman felt about her, because after that he saw that she had so much compassion. So after this, they end up prepping for this festival. Now it's basically like a ceremony for Talman and the Spring Court because they are trying to, you know, just have good blessings all over. It's how they get their magic or like restore their magic and whatnot. Now, Farrah doesn't understand the whole capacity of like what's going on because she's human. She doesn't get it. But Talman is like emphasizing that she needs to stay in her room. Does this girl do that? No. Again, she made me upset. Just like how her sisters made me upset, this is when Farrah made me upset. I said, this man told you to stay in your room. And there's a reason why. Okay? So, she ends up taking her little happy behind outside at night while all of the people from all different courts and all these random people that usually she does not see, they didn't have masks on because, mind you, everybody in Spring Court had a mask. She's out here with these people, right? She walks around, she bumps into some, and you know, they're not friendly, so they're all up on her. And she's like, no, leave me alone, no. And then Rhysand comes in. Now, Rhysand is a new player in the game. Now, Rhysand, he comes in and he's very handsome from what she says. She's like, he's very handsome, he helped me out, but he was like, you're not from here, there's something different about you. Like, he's trying to ask these questions and being very vague. Boom, Talman and Lucien come in, and Farrah just is like, I'm dipping, I'm hiding. But she's hearing this conversation that Rhysand is having with Talman and Lucien, and she's just like, what do you mean? What, like, who are you talking about when you're talking about she? Now, this kind of has a red flag for, you know, your girl. She's sitting here like, what are they talking about? Okay? Because, you know, she's curious, and curiosity can kill a cat. Homegirl is just too curious sometimes. So, the next morning after this happens, reset. I don't even know if it's the next morning. It's like some days past. I don't know. Like, the timeline is a little vague right now, so don't come for me. I'm just going off of my notes that I had. So some time passed. A little, alright, maybe a little. Rhysand comes back to the house. Now, they tell her to, like, you know, disappear. Like, he cannot see you because Rhysand's coming back. He brings up the name Amarantha. Now, when he brings up this name, it's like, ooh, for Talman. He's like, oh my gosh. So he brings up the name Amarantha, and Amarantha is like, hey, your time is up. This is like, you need to get yourself together. Da 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 da. In this, he finds out that, you know, they have a little pet. It's like he likes to call her, Rhysand says. He's like, oh, you've got a human here. It's the same human that I saw the other night. And he asked her name. She did not give him her real name, but he does ask her for her name. Keep that in mind of where I'm going. Rhysand leaves with his warning and whatever about Amarantha gone, right? As soon as that happens, Talman's like, you gotta go too. I love you, but you really have to, like, go. So he's like, I want you to visit your parent, like your sisters and your dad and stuff. So that's what she does. She goes, she visits her parents, like her dad and her sisters. And she finds out that they have like a glamour on their life. So basically, the goodbye that she had with Talman was like, he loves her, and basically it was like a goodbye forever. And she was like, why is he letting me go? Now at this point, I don't think that she understands, because she's like 19. She didn't understand like what love was, right? And she's like, he's letting me go. But she was like, I don't know why he's letting me go when I want to be with him, right? So she's going through that, but she's also understanding that she wants to be with him. So she gets back, she's on the human side of things. And when she's on the human side of things, she realizes that something's off, you know. Again, her family has a glamour on them. And she's like, oh wow, like, what is happening? Like, everything seems really good over here. You guys are happy. Her sister's getting married, but her older sister is the one who you can tell that she doesn't have a glamour on. She's like, oh, I remember everything. I know what happened. And she was like, let me tell you something. Not everything is buttercups and butterflies over here. And she's like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. And then she says, like, there has been attacks on different, like, families and things like that. She says the name of the family and the girl that she gave to Resand. That triggered something in Miss Favor there. She said, I gotta go back because they're looking for me here and they might be coming after you next. They don't know that y'all are my family, but if they figure out that I lied, there's gonna be an issue, right? So she goes back and she was like, I'm going back to Promethean. I've got to go to the Supreme Court. She goes back there, right? Guess who's not there? Tell me. He's not there. She's like, what's happening? She ends up finding one of the maids. The maids tells her, like, why are you back? You're not supposed to be back here. He did all of this for you. And then she's like, well, what do you mean? She was like, you couldn't break the curse. And she's like, what curse are you talking about? Now, this is where myself, my opinion might be a little bit convoluted, but I was kind of upset with him because I was like, wait a minute. So he basically tricked her. He was sending people to the border to see if they can find somebody that would actually hurt them. So he was sending his people out for the slaughter for her. Not her specifically, but he was. So that he could find somebody that he could take. Meaning that the law that he said about somebody killing a fae, it wasn't really true. So he basically said that he needed her to fall in love with him so that it would break the curse, because she is Pharaoh, the curse breaker, right? She has to break the curse. And she's like, wait a minute. So you're saying that he did all of this so that I could break the curse by saying that I love him. And when they left that day, when she left to go back home, she didn't say it. So he ended up going under the mountain to Amarantha. Okay? Now, we're here at Amarantha. Y'all, oh my goodness. When I tell you, this part of the book had me so just like weeping and upset, but at the same time, I was engrossed in it. I was eating it up like it was some ice cream. Promise you I was. So we get here, and yeah, we get here. She sneaks in, Farah dear, sneaks in. And she's like, oh, here I go. I'm going in here and I'm going to save my man. And Amarantha finds her and is like, oh, look at you. You're here for him, but he's mine. And she's like, what? No, I'm here for him. She's trying to talk to him. Solomon not giving her the time of day. The reason for that is because he doesn't want Amarantha to see that he actually cares about her. But at the same time, I'm like, come on, man. Homegirl's 19. She's not that mature. She is feeling some type of way. This is the whole time. This is me the whole time in the book. I'm like, she's feeling some type of way. The maturity is not there yet, but she is mature for her age. When it comes to other things, because like she's got a lot of like gumption spirit. Okay, Feyre was doing some things that I wouldn't be doing, and I was just like, wow. She said, well, what I need, she was like, well, if you're not going to let him go, let's make a deal. So Feyre makes a deal with Amarantha, saying that she will let all the people under the mountain go if she excuse me, does these challenges that Amarantha puts before her. So she has 3 challenges to do, or she can either, solve the riddle that Amarantha has given her. Now, that being said, she goes through these challenges. The first challenge is crazy. Action-packed, but I was like, this is crazy. You are like fighting, she's fighting a crazy creature. She gets hurt really bad. She ends up getting help from Rhysand and Lucien, but mostly Rhysand. And she cuts a deal with him. And this deal goes on past the first book, I believe. So, after that, the second challenge, this is where, I told you to keep in mind that homegirl can't read. Yeah, she couldn't read, and she almost got her and Lucien, killed. But again, Rhysand helped her, and I think that he paid for that because of Amarantha is knowing him as her pet. So Amarantha is supposed to be in control of Rhysand. So they always call him her whore. Excuse my language, but that's what they call Rhysand. He is Amarantha's whore. And to be known as that, that's hers. So for Feyre to have any type of anything with him, it is seen as disrespectful to Amarantha, but Amarantha never really said anything. It was all in the actions that she did. So she knew what was going on to a certain extent and knew that Rhysand was helping her under the mountain. Now with that, there was the third challenge, and the third challenge was the worst challenge, y'all. And I don't know how girl understood what was going on, but she ended up having to, unalive some people. And that is not what you want to do when you're trying to save people, right? So she ends up doing this, and she ends up unaliving some Fae people, and it kind of triggers some things. Now, she ends up passing all of the trials, but Amarantha said, oh, congratulations, but you never said when I had to let these people go. Now, when girl said that to me, and this might be a spoiler if you haven't read it yet, when I read that part, I was like, oh my gosh, my blood was boiling, because I said, Feyre, you went through all of this, and then this heifer is talking about she ain't gonna let him go yet, and you went through all of this for a man that's sitting here just letting everything happen to you, and you having to be the one to say, I know you're Feyre the curse breaker, but good gracious, what's happening? Okay, I was very upset. So that being said, everybody went off. Rhysand went off, Talon went off, and they're like, we're going to just beat you up. So they were like, we're getting Amarantha regardless, because not Feyre sitting here having to do all of this stuff and you're still telling us you're not gonna let these people go. Now, when I tell you, it wasn't just the Spring Court that was dealing with this, it was all the courts dealing with this, and they had all these high lords there from all the courts as well. So Under the Mountain was not like one of those things that was like, oh, this is a social club. No, this was a big old prison for folks, and this one lady was running it. So they said, we are going to get her. In this tussle and stuff, of course Amarantha gets upset because she's like, oh, y'all are upset? Y'all are upset over this little girl? This human? Next thing you know, Feyre's on the floor. She is fighting for her life on the floor. That just sent them overboard. And in the meanwhile, while she is fighting for her life, homegirl whispers the words that she needed to whisper to the riddle or the curse. I'm like, girl, good timing. You sitting here and now you're going to figure it out on your deathbed. But she ends up breaking the curse in that moment. And when that happens, Talon goes in. He has all his powers back. And boom, Amarantha is done for. Okay? Now, then you have poor little Feyre on the ground. Now, she's on the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, Feyre, are you going to stay alive? Like, at this point, I'm about to cry. Because I was like, girl, you did all of this for this man. He got his powers back, and look at you. But then you got all the High Lords there. Even the one from the Night Court, Rhysand. They all took their power, took a little bit of their magic, and put it inside of her. So that she could stay alive. And then she reawakens as a High Fae herself. Now, is she still herself? Mentally, yes. Physically, not so much. Because she has gotten the powers of High Fae. So now she is way different from where she was in her human form. Now, this is getting her to, understand like, hey, I'm different, but I'm still me. She said, I'm happy to be alive, but at the same time, this is kind of weird. So she leaves off with still having trauma from being under the mountain. Of course, everybody does, but everybody's freed from the mountain now. They start rebuilding the courts, and now she's going back to the Spring Court. But there's some unanswered questions, which I'm about to get into. So this is my whole review of, the book, right? So these are some things that my takeaways from the book that I really wanted to get into. So what's going to happen, because she made a deal with Rhysand, right? So I want to know what's going to happen with that. Is Talon just going to ignore that happened, or is it actually going to be something there, or is he going to honor that, or he's going to be like, nah, this is mine? How is their relationship going to change, because she's turned into a fae? Because like in any great novel, there's always some changes when some magic has occurred, or the character has gone through a traumatic experience. So I'm wondering how that is going to dive into the next book. And at the same time, I'm still upset at Talon for lying to her. I'm like, dang, man. But I understand at the same time, because he was like, I'm trying to protect my people. But who knows? Who knows? I feel like he was gaslighting her a little bit. Just a little bit. Because homegirl is young, and she's in love with you, but she probably doesn't know how to express that, because she's young. She's been having to fight. She's had a hard knock life, and then you're sitting up here and you're just feeding her all these sugar plums and candy. I don't know. But then she fought for you like that, and I'm just like, wow. Girl, you did that for him? And he sat there and let you endure all of that? So I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't know how he's gonna communicate with her. I really think they need therapy, but I don't. But it's not my book, so I can't really say nothing about that part of it. But good writing, honestly. And when a book leaves me with questions, I feel like it's got good writing because I'm like, it's still got more. That's only the first book, y'all. So we got to go to the second one. And when we go to the second one, then we'll see what's happening to see if some of my questions will be answered. Okay? But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed reading this book. Um, it left me with questions, and I guess it's like a cliffhanger for me. I don't think it really left off in the cliffhanger, but it did leave questions. I'm like, okay, this I can see this leading into another book. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think she did her big one with the first book, and I'm very excited to do reviews on the other ones as well. But these are just my opinions on the first one. I want to know what you guys thought about it. I thought it was good. Great world building. Great start to a series. And a lot of stuff was going on. How do you feel about the characters? I want your opinions on that as well. How do we feel about Talman now at the end of the book from the beginning of the book? So yeah, you guys remember to just comment, subscribe, um, just leave your opinion about this book because I really want to know, honestly. And as always, you guys, happy reading. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.